Hey guys, Patrick from B Squared. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I do a virtual track walk in the simulator before a track day. I'm going to be coaching tomorrow with a private car club here in Toronto called the R Club, and we're going to be at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Both of the students are going to be driving either a Porsche Cayman or a Boxster, so very similar cars, and I want to hop in the simulator on the same car and on the same track and just get a refresher of the reference points I'm going to be using to coach them. And this will also be used as a learning tool for you so that you can learn how to get your own reference points using the simulator. So let's get right into it. Oh hello. Alright, beginning our virtual track walk here, we're approaching the first reference point, which I like to use as the bridge here. So I'd either tell a student or tell myself, brake before the bridge, at the bridge, or, if they're more comfortable, after the bridge. So let's continue on. Here's our first reference. Okay, so say they brake at the bridge, we're in our braking zone. We're gonna look for the crest of the hill here. So on the screen, as we see the car start to, point its way down, when our back wheels are on the crest, that'll be our turn-in point. You can use any other reference here. If you wanted to find a turn-in point and you weren't that sensitive to the car changing angle in the video game, we've got another great reference here, which is this sidewalk or pavement extension. And this is something that they have in the simulator that you can find in real life videos. So when you start going to the tracks, you're probably going to look at somebody else's lap on YouTube, and you should be able to relate what you see in sim to real life, because some simulator models aren't that accurate. Gratefully, this one is. Let's continue on. So we're going to turn in as our back wheels are on the crest, or you can say turn in at the sidewalk point. We've got our black pavement patch here, which also does exist in real life. Continuing on, apexing at the end of the curb, keeping your eyes ahead. Open up your wheel at the end of the curbing to track out to your left to the exit curbing. Approaching another bridge, and knowing the track goes downhill, I'd usually tell my student to have speed control before the bridge. So that could be a lift, that could be a brake, depending on the student's comfort level. But this is our reference. You could say brake 2 bus lengths before the bridge. References don't always have to be a point at which you do an action. It could be do an action before you reach this point at some distance that you're comfortable. Okay, going down our track walk here, we may be tempted to use other references that are of high contrast to us. So directly ahead of us, we see a little red square, and that's sort of marking off the end of the curbing here. So we can use our look function. Okay, there is our red square there. It marks the end of the wall. Is that really the best reference for us to use? Nah, I don't think so. Typically, you'd be looking down or looking ahead. In our case, it is down the hill. But typically, you'd be looking ahead at your next reference point. So if we're looking out for our corner apex or our corner exit, we wouldn't really be looking in the right side. Be careful when you're choosing references. You want to choose a logical location. I'd usually tell somebody, mid-track entry to a late apex at the bottom of the curb, or inside entry, car tracks out to the middle and then goes back in. That's usually what ends up happening. And it really depends on your student's comfort level with getting close to that inside wall. Anyway, here is the bottom of the corner for turn 2, and usually when I'm in the car instructing somebody, I'd say, apex at the bottom of the hill at the end of the curbing. So here's the end of the curbing, it's the bottom of the hill. So far it's been pretty easy, a lot of big physical references. We've got our curbing here on the right hand side, so again, track out to the curbing, move over to our left hand side, and now again we got options for our reference point. We've got another one of those red squares, and this time it is sort of in our general direction for where we're looking, which is a good option. Personally, I actually like to use this billboard. In real life, when you're driving, it's pretty high contrast relative to the bright sky, and this Chevy billboard is dark. So you could easily tell somebody using the billboard as your reference point. Following this pavement patch here, which starts to turn in toward the curbing, I tell students to follow the black patch to a late apex at the end of the curb. Here's our end of the curb. Open up the wheel, following the patch to our corner exit on the left. Move over to the right hand side, speed control before bridge. So again, we got this bridge. We can do our slowdown before it because it's downhill. mid-track entry, apply throttle as you go down the hill to a late apex at the bottom of this curb. Looking up at 5A, we're going to brake as the hill starts to go up. Apexing 5A, immediately looking out for our exit curbing and tracking out as well. Once we get to the crest here, look down the hill for our apex of 5B, late apex 5B, track out on the left. So I'm sure you guys get the gist of it. You know, take your sim driving slowly. You don't always have to hop into the sim and, you know, start just ripping laps, because that too can be sort of mindless if you're not really sure where your references are. So when you're learning a course, whether it's real life, whether it's in simulator, you could do some of these exercises. We're going to continue along. When we see the bridge, start to move over to our left-hand side. The bridge happens at about the crest, as you guys can see, so we're cresting a hill right now. Do you want to be doing a lot of longitudinal oscillation at a crest? Probably not. So I'd usually tell somebody brake after the bridge. Now we're after the bridge, hit the brakes. There's a couple of reference points that we can use here. End of the wall, maybe the Marshall station on our right. There's a curbing in front of us, so I'd usually tell people double apex, first apex at the end of the, you know, that service road. Open up a little bit to a late apex at the end of the curbing for 8. Diagonal cut, brake in a straight line for turn 9, late apex of 9, keeping to our left hand side for entry to 10. And here we have another reference point. We could use these water jugs here that, you know, they're sort of the barrier between the wall that separates the pit and the driving lane. So we can use those as a braking reference, and then simply turn into a geometric apex at the turn 10 curbing, track out using the exit curbing, and there we go. That is a lap of Mosport that we just did, albeit slowly, but we learned a ton about reference points going over it in our virtual track walk. And I will be filming my helmet cam tomorrow as I'm coaching, so I'm going to show you guys here some video of me using these references at the track with my students. Apex at the end of this curve, diagonal cut, perfect. Turn in, geometric apex, track out, and open up the wheel, perfect. Slowly apply throttle, late apex at the bottom, brake beside the billboard. We're going to turn in as we're under the L, perfect. About a mid-track entrance to a late apex at the bottom of the curb, apex of 5A, track out, look down to 5B, slowly apply throttle as we go down this hill, and keep to your left. Nice. This video is obviously narrated from a coach's perspective, but of course you could take the same approach for when you're learning a track in real life as a driver. And of course we got to plug in our website here, b-squared.io, and on our website you can find all of our current product offerings, which include trackside data analysis coaching or even post-track data analysis, where you guys can send us your video or your data and we can go through it, write up a report for all the things that you need to do at your next track day so that you can push a little bit better and make the best use out of your track time instead of, you know, kind of mindlessly trying to figure out, you know, what you should do next. And find us on socials. I've been making a little bit more reels, fun videos, in addition to all the educational stuff that we do. I hope you guys enjoyed and are able to apply what you learned today to any other track, whether it's sim, whether it's real life racing. Tap in, learn, take it slow, do a virtual track walk, and drive safe. I will see you guys at the track.